tonight. Change is in the air as new mayors are elected in Regina and Saskatoon. We hear from the coach of the Regina Rams ahead of the team's Mitchell Bowl appearance. And high school students in Regina get a hands-on look at some future career choices.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Thursday, November 14th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. I'm Ethan Williams. Thanks for joining us. Voters across the province have spoken. Yesterday's elections resulted in some major changes. Regina is one city with a new mayor, and almost all of council will be fresh faces. Alexander Kwan reports.
It's a new day for Regina and a fresh start after a municipal election that appears to have brought change to nearly every corner of the city. It starts at the top with Mayor-elect Chad Baczynski. The engineer and project manager defeated incumbent Mayor Sandra Masters, Lori Bresciani, and 8 other candidates. The 38-year-old says he wasn't surprised with the result.
I mean, I didn't feel it as accounted out. I knew that they had the name recognition, and I knew that the type of campaign I wanted to run was a really word-of-mouth, grassroots type of campaign.
Masters' loss may have been a surprise even to her, but the one-term mayor says the results make it clear this election was about change for her and for the city.
I'd be lying if I didn't say I wasn't a little bit relieved in a way. You know, you get a life back. I'd like to think I'm still employable in some respects.
Baczynski will be one of 9 new faces on city council. Only Shannon Zakidniak and Jason Mancinelli have retained their seats. And that means there will be a steep learning curve for a council facing challenges like a massive infrastructure gap and a series of potential mega projects like a new central library. One project Baczynski is not interested in revisiting is the $245 million indoor aquatic facility that is set to begin construction next year.
With the injection of funds from the province and the federal government, to me, the math adds up that, and the risks add up that I believe that we need to move forward with it. I don't want to see any more delays to cost any further taxpayer dollars.
Depending on how his council feels, Baczynski may not have a choice. The mayor is just one vote of 11, and at least a few newly elected councillors were endorsed by Advance Regina, one of the third-party organizations that advocated for no tax increases and less spending. The new Regina City Council will be sworn in next week, and it will officially get back to work in December. Alexander Kwan, CBC News, Regina.
And Saskatoon also has a new mayor, but she is a familiar face. And as Liam O'Connor reports, a new mayor is also just one of many changes City Hall will be seeing in the coming weeks.
There's a new mayor on the block in Saskatoon, Cynthia Block, that is. She served 2 terms on City Council for Ward 6 and was on the most recent council. She's also the first woman to become mayor. Her top priority in her new role is homelessness.
When people are safely housed, community safety goes up for all of us. And so the urgency of getting people off the streets into safe housing and an opportunity to transition out of homelessness is urgent. It's always been urgent, but we're seeing this at an accelerated level in our city and cities across Canada.
The results trickled in slowly Wednesday night. Block wasn't declared the official winner until just before midnight, but it was clear she had the edge. In the end, she beat former Saskatchewan Party MLA Gordon Wyatt by 10,000 votes. Former Mayor Don Acheson came in 3rd.
I think it's a strong mandate, and I think in the times that we live in, it's super important that we have a strong mandate if we're going to start to close any of the divisiveness that we see in our community. I think it needs to start with strong leadership.
As for City Council, there are now 6 new faces, people including Robert Pierce, who made waves for his opposition to the Fairhaven shelter, and Catherine McDonald, who pushed out incumbent Ward 1 councillor Darren Hill. Saskatoon also elected its first black councillor, Sinos Timon, in Ward 2. He says he's humbled and grateful.
To have a representation at our local government that reflect who we are, reflect our community, it means a lot. It means a lot to the people of color, the black community, and a lot of those who wanted to see them represented, who wanted to see them belong in our local government.
Next up for mayor and council, a lot of learning and getting to work on several massive infrastructure projects. including the arena and downtown entertainment district, a new downtown library, and more. Liam O'Connor, CBC News, Saskatoon.
In Regina, results were also slow to come in at first. Long lines at polling stations delayed counting. Some places had lineups around the block even as the polls closed. Historically, voter turnout in Regina's municipal elections has been low. The last two elections saw around a 20% turnout, but this year it was 26%.
I think there were lots of stories and comments being made about people who are waiting in line. It's not the worst thing that can happen, at least to a returning officer, when we get increased voter turnout. We have a long ways to go, I'd respectfully say, but to increase at 5% over the last election, I think speaks to both the quality and the issues that people were engaged in.
Nichols says more people came to the advance polls this year, but the number of people using mail-in ballots declined. Of course, the last civic election was at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Nichols says he would have preferred some separation from other elections like the provincial and U.S. races to help with staffing and local engagement. In Saskatoon, voter turnout was also up. 35% of eligible voters showed up to the polls compared to 27% last election. But it was a tough election night for incumbent mayors in smaller cities across the province. Here's a look at how some of the races played out. In Moose Jaw, Clive Tolley suffered a crushing defeat, ending up third in the mayoral race with just 7% of the vote. James Murdoch becomes Moose Jaw's new mayor, taking over 60% of the vote. In Weyburn, two-term incumbent mayor Marcel Roy lost with 32% of the vote. Jeff Richards takes the mayor chair with 44%. In Yorkton, 4 years ago, Mitch Hipsley narrowly defeated Aaron Keenley to become that city's mayor, but it was a reversal of fortunes this time around. Keenley beat Hipsley by about 1,000 votes. But perhaps the biggest upset was in Prince Albert. Three-term Mayor Greg Dion was defeated by Bill Powalinski, the former chair of the local Chamber of Commerce. Powalinski took about 54% of the overall vote between three mayoral candidates. One retiring Saskatoon city councillor says this is all an unusual trend for incumbents.
Incumbency has been such a tremendous advantage at the municipal level. Without a party political affiliation, many people are able to capitalize on the name recognition that they have as incumbents. But of course, we are seeing this broader trend, people feeling frustrated about their quality of life, the pressures of the economy, and so forth.
In other news, an assault charge has been dismissed against an educational assistant at a Saskatoon private Christian school. That's because the 44-year-old woman went through an alternative measures program. Tara McEwen was charged in September after she hit a 7-year-old student in the head with a relay baton this past spring. Larissa Garrettsy says her son was traumatized by what happened at Legacy Christian Academy, now known as Valor Academy. The staff member responsible took anger management, performed community service, and wrote an apology to the boy. 3 other former school officials have been also charged with assault with a weapon. They have all pleaded not guilty, and those court cases continue. The University of Regina is hosting a faculty showcase for high school students all this week. It gives the students a chance to check out some academic programs, but they also have a chance to see what a real career could look like once they're finished university. Sarah Onyango has that story.
These students are not just looking at rocks, they could be looking at their futures. They are getting a glimpse of one of the variety of programs the university offers and finding out some potential career paths they could pursue, including earth sciences.
Seeing that almost childhood wonder kind of light up in their eyes, like, whoa, these are really cool.
As the high school kids took a closer look at rocks, minerals, and fossils, some current university students showed off their latest research, technology, and fieldwork.
Hands-on learning is really important. It's why I love geology, so I hope these kids are inspired.
But the faculty showcase is not only about promoting a program, it's also about showing prospective students what they can actually expect if they choose a career in certain departments, and hearing from people already in the field about what they love.
One of the sciences that kind of encompasses all the other sciences, I feel you get a taste of everything, so I definitely feel fulfilled in where I am, yeah.
Jordan Dean used to work as a carpenter, but decided to go back to school and take some basic science courses. He found the Earth Sciences department by chance, and now he says he works in a career he didn't even know was possible.
This is really cool, and it lets me play with chemistry and play with physics and play with geology, being outside. Like, my office is outside.
That's the nice thing about geology, is you kind of can be picky about what you actually want to do and what you're interested in, because there's so many opportunities.
And Stephenson says as environmental careers in oil and gas expand in Saskatchewan, she's eager to enter a field with more local opportunities. Sarah Onyango, CBC News, Regina.
Well, we've managed to avoid the snow in Regina, but other parts of the province not so lucky today. Weather specialist Riley Lachuk will tell us about a messy system moving through our province. When we come back, stay with us. Welcome back. The University of Regina Rams are gearing up for the Mitchell Bowl this weekend. The team is hosting the Laval Rouge et Or at Mosaic Stadium after defeating the Huskies last weekend. The 306's Peter Mills checked in with Rams head coach Mark McConkey to hear about the season, the team dynamic, and his big plans for the big game.
At the end of the day, just proud to represent the Rams, the Horns. They mean so much to me. It really changed my life when I moved here from Calgary to play football, and I just hope I can do the same for the current players.
Mark, what kind of emotions have gone into this roller coaster season?
It's been an interesting one. We start 2-0, beat the Huskies, which is always a big one, provincial rival, and then you lose 5 straight. But at the end of the day, when we lost those 5 straights, like, we got our butts kicked in the one game against U of A. But other than that, they were 2-point losses, 3-point losses. Like, they're close. Like, we knew what we had. We just weren't finding a way to win those games. And the guys on the team, the leadership's been great. They knew we were still confident. We might have just been like oblivious at points, maybe people might see, but we knew what we had. And if we can get on the right side of those wins, we have something special. And then ever since then, we've been in playoffs and win. So we just got to keep it going.
What has made this team special? What's the strength of your team?
Definitely our defense. We're a defensive team. We got 4 all-stars. They're flying around, playing well. Again, lots of injuries on offense, and again, not making excuses, but it is what it is, part of football. So even on defense, we've had injuries, but guys are stepping up, playing well. And obviously our D coordinator, Sheldon Gray, is doing a nice job, and the guys are really buying into the system. And now we're just playing smart defensive football, and that also affects the offense too. Just take care of the football, try not to turn over, win the field position battle. And that's what we've been doing the last few games, and we just got to keep it going against Laval Saturday.
Mark, how do you do that as a head coach? You got some great players on defense. You mentioned a great defensive coordinator, but how do you make sure that your team continually believes that even when you're losing, even when the ball gets turned over on offense, that you can take it back and you have that faith?
Yeah, I mean, the last 3 games have really all been playoff games. We were down to U of A 22-4 in the third quarter. We came back and won. And if we lost that game, we're out. And then in Manitoba, we're down by 5 late, and we go on a 101-yard drive to score with almost zeros on the clock. And then last week versus UVS, we're down 14-1. And I don't know, like, it's just, even when we were down 14-1, I didn't think we were losing the game. I was like, I'm confident our defense is going to tighten up, our offense is going to get moving. It's.
But what do you say to the players, Mark? What do you tell the players?
I almost don't need to. We almost like it. I even told them yesterday, I was like, I hope Laval scores early on us, so we're down, and then we can just come back again, because that seems to be working for us. The guys just have such belief in themselves and the coaches, and they know we can get it done. And like, adversity's hit. Like, our whole season's just been filled with adversity, injuries, losing 5 straight, losing those close games, and now it's the teeter totter. Tilted now, so we got a lot of momentum going. And even when we're down, we still have full confidence.
I remember watching you and the Rams at Taylor Field. You did have some incredible seasons. What do you remember most about your time as a player?
Yeah, so many good memories. I mean, playing with guys like Mark Mueller, who's the Riders OC now, like, good friend of mine, and just those relationships. And I try to preach that to our guys. Like, you may not always remember the games and the scores, but you're going to remember the relationships that you built and the friendships you built, and just going to go into battle and grinding, getting up at 6 a.m. for morning workouts, and when it's minus 30 out in February. Like, those are the stuff you're going to remember, and just kind of doing it together, doing it the right way. So those were pretty special moments for me. And obviously, like, anytime you beat U of S, you remember that as a player, and get into the Hardy Cup in 2012. But Again, this is kind of new memories for us now. We actually won the West, so this one's right up there with all those playing memories.
The weather update is brought to you by Capital GMC Buick Cadillac. Year-end clearance is on now.
Well, as the sun sets on Regina, it has been a mostly cloudy day for us here, but we have a lot to be thankful for other than the clouds, because it was a nice warm day, and there has been some messy weather happening in other parts of the province. Riley Lachuk is now here with a look at our forecast. Hi, Riley.
Well, Ethan, certainly a bit more of a dreary day today across really most of the province, and a little bit of everything throughout the day today. So yes, as expected, a few showers and a lot of cloud cover in southern Saskatchewan in the Regina area. Through Saskatoon, mostly a rain event as well, but further to the north around Prince Albert, for example, getting a little bit of snow through the morning into the afternoon hours today. The rest of this area of low pressure continues to work its way north and east. That means the Parkland region through the overnight hours, Yorkton into the Kenora area, into those higher elevations around the Duck Mountains. Can't rule out some light snow even through the overnight hours, but still above seasonal temperature-wise through the day today. Some of our afternoon temperatures, 9 in Regina, 11 in Weyburn, 12 in Assiniboia. We did see some peaks of sunshine through the late afternoon through southern and southwestern parts of the province. That's why we did see some temperatures jumping up a bit. Maple Creek 13, but only 5 degrees in Saskatoon. I say only, even though that is still above seasonal for this time of the year. That clearing does continue as we get through the overnight hours tonight. The rest of that area of low pressure makes its way off into northern Manitoba, but still into the morning hours. Parts of northeastern Saskatchewan looking at some light snow through the morning hours, continuing even by the lunch hour, a few stubborn flurries hanging on as we get through the later part of the day. For the rest of us, we get a clearing sky through the day. On Friday, a much brighter day, even by late afternoon. I think we're back to a mainly sunny sky by the time we get into late Friday. Into Saturday, things changing once again. A Colorado low making its way north of the border. This not having a huge impact on the province, but can't rule out either some showers, some mixing, or some light flurries first thing Saturday into the early part of the day for extreme southeastern parts of the province for Estevan, for example. So taking a look at some forecast snowfall, this is to come yet through parts of northern Saskatchewan. Prince Albert, maybe a couple more centimeters, more like 2 to 5. Some pockets of higher accumulation into that northeastern section, which will see a little bit more snow as we head through the day on Friday. I do want to point out the visibility as well, because we are looking at the potential. The ingredients are there for some fog to develop tonight. This particular model not doing a great job picking some of this up, but we could see some patchy fog, or we do see visibilities down to about, say, that 1-2 kilometer mark into early Friday morning. So just keep that in mind if you're out early tomorrow, that we could run into some fog. 3 degrees tomorrow in Regina. Slight chance you could see a couple more flurries rolling through on Saturday, and then temperatures really sliding back towards seasonal as we get into the middle part of next week. And in Saskatoon, looking at a 1 degree high tomorrow. Cloud cover for Saturday. Cloud kind of hangs on for Sunday. And then, Ethan, we're looking at temperatures staying closer to that seasonal mark into next week.
All right. Thank you very much, Riley. Well, earlier this month, people in a town in southwestern England held a flaming celebration. Barrels coated in tar are hoisted on participants and carried through the crowd. The tradition apparently has its origin in the 1605 gunpowder plot, a failed attempt to kill King James I. Only those either born in the town or longtime residents are allowed to carry the barrels. They cover their skin in Vaseline and usually wear a number of layers of wet towels. Some of the barrels weigh more than 30 kilograms or 66 pounds. Stay with us. We're back after the break. Thousands of RCMP officers will start wearing body cameras in the coming months. The national rollout will happen in stages. The force says about 90% of frontline members will be using the cameras a year from now. The move is aimed in part at increasing transparency.
And really, it's that balance between restoring potentially faith in the community with perhaps, fact-based information is not coming out of the situation. And that's when the commanding officer would make a determination with the region that the camera or incident happened, and they would weigh that release.
Efforts to avert a work stoppage at Canada Post are going down to the wire. The Crown Corporation and union are still negotiating. Canada Post workers could be off the job as early as midnight. Both the company and the union have served each other notice of a potential work stoppage. Canada Post says it intends to continue deliveries using ways allowed under the Canada Labour Code. That includes delivery of government support checks during any contract disruption.
All right, here's a look at your Friday forecast for southern and central. Looking at a much brighter day tomorrow. We'll see clearing throughout the day for Friday for places like Saskatoon. Regina hanging on to that cloud cover, but we will be clearing as we get through the afternoon hours. Look at the difference in temperatures. Estevan at 7, Regina at 3 through the afternoon hours. So waking up -1, a few fog patches not out of the question in southern and central through the morning hours. Into the afternoon, we do start to see a bit more sunshine and only getting up to that 3-degree high tomorrow afternoon. For Saskatoon, starting at -3, a mainly cloudy sky, northwest winds keeping things a bit on the cool side, and Ethan, by the afternoon, looking at a temperature of 1.
Looks nice. All right. Thank you, Riley. And that is it for us tonight. For news anytime, including on all the civic election results across the province, you can head to cbc.ca/sask and subscribe to our CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel or download the CBC News app. Thanks so much for watching. We're back tomorrow at 6. Have a great night.